All right, let's talk about something that every developer, every developer knows all too well. That feeling when you're just hunting for a piece of code. Today we're going to dive into a super fast code search engine that's trying to solve this exact problem.
Have you ever just felt completely lost in a sea of code? You know what I'm talking about, right? You're deep in the zone, and suddenly you need to find that one thing, where a function is defined, how a variable is being used, and you're just stuck. It's like looking for a needle in a haystack, but the haystack is a million lines of code.
And oh man, the list of frustrations is long, isn't it? You're trying to find every single place a function is called before you dare change it. Or you're hunting down that one rogue variable that's causing a nightmare bug. And what about trying to understand some ancient legacy code with zero comments? We've all been there. But maybe the absolute worst part is the waiting. Just waiting for search results to crawl back, especially when you're digging through dozens of microservices.
Okay, so this really gets to the heart of it, the code search problem.
And here's why it's a problem. Your standard text search just can't cut it. Think about it. Code isn't just a bunch of words in a document. It has structure, syntax, symbols, all these complex relationships between files. A simple grep or a control F doesn't get any of that. It has no idea if it's looking at a variable name or something in a comment. Code needs something way, way smarter.
So, what's the solution? Well, that leads us to a smarter way to search.
And that tool actually exists.
We're talking about a super powerful open-source search engine designed from day one just for source code. It's built to chew through massive code bases like it's nothing. For any developer who needs answers like right now, this is a total game changer.
So, what's under the hood? What makes this thing so special? Well, first off, it is blazing fast. We're talking near-instant substring searches. But it's not just speed. It's got powerful regular expression matching, so you can get really fancy. Plus, a rich query language with Boolean logic, your ands, ors, and nots to really narrow things down. And maybe the coolest part? It intelligently ranks results. It actually looks at code signals like if a match is a function definition and pushes the most important stuff right to the top.
Now, what's really interesting about this slide is the tech behind all that speed. You can see it's overwhelmingly written in Go. And if you're not familiar, Go is a language from Google that is purpose-built for high performance and handling lots of things at once. That choice is absolutely not an accident. It's one of the core reasons this engine can chew through mountains of code so efficiently.
You gotta love this quote from the source material. "Seek, and ye shall eat spinach." Apparently, this came from the creator's primary school teacher, and it just perfectly captures the whole spirit of this thing, right? It's a fun way of saying, if you look for something the right way, you'll get what you need. And speaking of the right way, that's a perfect segue into how this whole thing actually works.
All right, so how does it pull off this incredible speed? What's the secret sauce? Well, the magic behind it all is a concept called the trigram.
So what on earth is trigram indexing? Well, in a nutshell, it's a method that breaks down source code into these little overlapping 3-character chunks. Think of it this way. Instead of indexing whole words, the engine chops up everything into these tiny pieces. Then it creates this massive, super efficient index, kind of like a giant phone book, of all those chunks and exactly where to find them. This is the key to its near-instant search.
And this brilliantly illustrates how simple but powerful this idea is. Okay, so let's take the word function. The indexer doesn't see function, it sees a series of 3-letter chunks, fun, then unc, nct, cti, and so on. So when you go to search for function, the engine doesn't have to read every single file. No way. It just goes to its index and says, hey, show me all the files that have all of these little chunks. This cuts down the search space from potentially millions of files to just a handful, making the final step almost instantaneous. It's genius, really.
What's really cool is how this tool isn't just for one type of person. It scales beautifully, from a solo dev to a massive enterprise. So let's look at the 2 main ways you can use this. For your own local machine, you can just run it as a simple command line tool. You index your own local repos, and boom, you've got super fast offline search for all your personal projects. It's perfect for that. But then, for your whole organization, you can scale it up. You deploy it as a dedicated web server and index server. It'll automatically sync and index everything from your code host, like GitHub or whatever you use, and give your entire team a central, unified place to search. Okay, so let's zoom out a bit and talk about the future of finding code.
And this isn't just some niche theoretical thing. We're talking about a technology that is already trusted and used by over 100 open source projects and companies. This thing is battle-tested, you know? It's been proven to work in real-world, high-stakes environments.
So what does all this actually mean for you and your team? Well, it means you can debug way faster because you can trace issues across your entire codebase in seconds. It means bringing new developers up to speed is so much easier. They can actually explore and understand these huge, complex systems on their own. And really, when you get rid of the friction of just finding stuff, you can't help but accelerate innovation.
And that's really the bottom line here. This isn't just another search tool. It is a genuine productivity multiplier. Think about it. It gives developers back their most valuable resource, which is time. Time that they can now spend building cool stuff, creating, and solving actual problems, instead of just digging around for a piece of code.
So, I'll just leave you with this final thought. Just imagine, for a second, a world where there is zero friction between having a question about your code and getting the answer. What could your team build? What could you accomplish if you could find any piece of code, anywhere, instantly?